Greetings and welcome, everybody, to this week's episode of Poly Weekly News. I'm your host, David Danto, and I have with me one of my colleagues, and I'm going to pronounce your name wrong, Jan Zoetemelk, right? Was that close enough?
It's perfect. Sounds so good.
Jan and I see each other maybe once or twice a year when I'm visiting Europe or when he's visiting the States, and he's on to join us today to do a little bit more of a deep dive and walkthrough about our new version 4 software for our Android bars. So, Jan, before we get started, why don't you tell everybody a little bit more about who you are, what you do at the company, and how you got here?
Yeah, thanks. And first, thanks to have me in your show. Yeah, no, my name is Jan Zoetemelk. So I am almost 15 years within the company. 15 years. So started my journey just after PictureTel became Polycom at that time. So I jumped in there with one of the first generations of the video endpoints. Really great period and time in market, and been so far a really great ride in the unified communication market. So jumped from the Polycom market. We went to together with Plantronics. We went Poly, and now we are part of HP. And yeah, it's been an amazing journey so far. Of course, during the pandemic period, it was also a crazy period with headsets and video endpoints. It's all great to be in this market and working in this market. Not only in the HP world, but also I got the community where I do a lot of things on a YouTube channel where I do a lot of tech videos myself and show people some unboxing of the different products that are released. So doing also quite some free things on the market for the community.
If you send me the YouTube channel, I'll put the link in over here so people can go subscribe and take a look at some of your videos. Tell everybody what you actually do at the company. What's your role?
Yeah, so my role within Poly is sales engineering. Part of the sales engineering team. So do a lot of pre-sales, do a lot of proof of concept pilots with customers, supporting, of course, the end customers, the big enterprise customers in my regions. This is the Benelux regions where I'm in, and also being a back-to-back. Supporting the product team with a lot of features and functionality. So I'm testing a lot. Here, as you can see also in my lab here, a lot of back-to-back testing for engineering and product team, new features, testing out and providing feedback. So it's a combination of both, and this is what I really enjoy doing already for many years. And of course, one of those things is sharing knowledge out there.
That's terrific, Jan, and I'm glad. I appreciate you taking the time to be with us for this week. Enterprise Connect ended a little over a week ago, and that's when we were announcing our version 4. And I know we've talked about some of the features, but you're going to give us a little bit more of a deep dive and walk us through some of it, right?
Absolutely. We'd love to give you some insights in the latest release 4.0. Absolutely. And so first I take a step back, and then I run it through. So what we have in 4.0, and I think this is really important, is to understand where we did the upgrade and the benefits. Now, first off, how is Studio X built up? So it's built up from a hardware capability set. That's the first piece. You got an operating system where it's running on. You got the applications, and of course you got the user level. This is the whole flow of the PolyOS platform. Now, how does this look like when you look at the different features? So first off, you got those hardware capabilities. So the Studio X is really packed with a lot of features and functionality. So some of them like X50, X70, they got dual screen. Most of them have touch functionality. We got AirPlay Mirrorcast built in, all those things. There's a lot of things built into the device. But it's important to know that not all those applications take advantage of all the capabilities. So that is always good to understand. Then we got, on top of that, we got PolyOS. That's the Android operating system, which is in the older release, the 3.x release, that was 8.0. And now what you will see with the 4.0, that brings us to that Android 10 base layers and makes us ready for the future. The next step is, of course, the applications. And here it comes. This is important. So what you see is that the applications there, they can take advantage of all those different features and functionalities which are in the Studio X. And not all of them are using, for example, the HDMI ingest, or not all of them are taking advantage of the HDMI ingest plus audio. And what you see sometimes, it could take a little bit longer before it becomes available, but the functionality is in there. I think that's very important. So this just to give you a good understanding of the PolyOS platform and application. And that's very important. This can be independently be upgraded. So these are all at the application layer. Those are all separate APKs running on the PolyOS. And what you can do is, for example, from Teams Admin Center or from Zoom Device Management, from all those different platforms, you can upgrade always independently if needed. If there is a hotfix or there is an emergency application that is being rolled out, that is always a possibility. And so 4.0 is that ground layer. And if Poly comes with a newer release in the future, we're always trying to embed the latest applications from those different providers. I think that is very important to know.
How would one? I'll let you keep going, but
sorry.
How would an end user who has the X30 or the X50 or the X70, what do they need to do to upgrade to this Android 4? I mean, to the PolyOS 4? Is there a cost involved? Is there a process involved?
No, that's a great question. There's no cost involved. So in the basis, you get those upgrades from Poly. That's part of that package. So what is important is if you do get the upgrade, there's all kinds of services around it. But for software upgrades, you can always get the benefits for this upgrading to those latest releases. Now, what they did is to do those upgrades, they moved that in the first phase to the Lens platform. And why is deployment from the Lens platform? Because in Lens, you can deploy a specific version to the devices. And the basis what we need to have before we can upgrade to 4.0 is the 3.14.1 or the 3.14.2. So this is why. But I will talk that also a bit through in the slides later on. This is what I also have here. Yeah. So what you see here, if you come from Android 8, so how does that upgrade path look like? When you upgrade, there's a sort of steps which you need to take. And it could be that there's still older versions because customer maybe have it in the cupboard or spare somewhere. This could be with older versions. Now, what you need to do, if it comes with a 3.0 release, you upgrade first to the 3.2.3. That's really important because in the 3.2.3, where new certificates were there available, and there you can upgrade again to a higher release. So that's very important. If you come from a 3.0 release, get to the 3.2.3, then you can make a step in between, for example, to the 3.6, 3.7, or 3.8 to make sure you got one step in between. And then you can come to that final release, the 3.14.1 or 3.14.2. And so either of these you need to have. This is the requirement to upgrade to that 4.0 release. That is the base, because there's a lot of things being prepared. I look at the Android libraries, etc. So there's a lot of things being prepared in the background, and that is that is optimal from that base layer, the 3.41 or 3.42. When you're going to do the upgrade, it's a one way. So this is really important. There's no way back to the 3.x release. So if you go to that route, you really need to make sure that this is why I always recommend to just test it first in your environment on 1 or 2 devices, because it is a one-way route. What also has been done is when you upgrade to 4.0, the base of the factory image will be upgraded to 4.0. So that means if you do a factory reset or anything, you upgrade to 4.0 and something is not properly, you factory reset the device, and this gives you a clean 4.0 if needed. So the base image is also then up to date. There's a lot of things going on, and there's a lot of work is being done in the 4.0 release. There's internal in the chipset is upgraded to make sure it's all compatible with the Android 10 releases. So there's a lot of things happening and being upgraded, and this is why you cannot just go back to Android 8. That is impossible. Now, when we are on the 4.0 release, of course, also a lot of testing has been done because all the video applications needs to run on that Android 10. So there's certification being done, and I will talk that also a bit later through for the different new devices that we introduced for the large room. Zoom, we did testing with Android 10, and with all those applications, we did the testing to make sure it's all working properly.
And that is, in fact, why the 4.0 release took so long to come out, because we didn't want to just throw it out to Android 10. We wanted to make sure that everything actually worked on Android 10 on the version 4.
Absolutely.
So we finally got it to a point where we're very comfortable with it being stable. Having said that, there's probably another firmware release coming out, within the next week or two. I'll let you talk about that, but at least we know this is a great stable platform to lock in.
Absolutely. No, I absolutely recommend the customers to go not all at once, but just do it phased in a sort of phased rollout, as we do that also through Lens, and make sure you test it out in your own environment. Could be with Teams that you set some in-tune policies, which is now based on Android 8. Of course, then you need to tune them to make sure they're ready on filtering on Android 10, so that everything is working properly. And if you test that out with 1 or 2 devices, then you can slowly roll it out to the rest of your devices. And 4.0 release is opening a lot of new features and benefits for Studio X to grow to new features in the next couple of months. So you'll probably see a lot of exciting things coming out there. So really exciting, and an exciting moment to get our customers to this latest 4.0 release. Yeah. Now, as I said, the upgrade will go through Poly Lens, because here we have the control. And what you will see if you put it in the latest version, as you said, like an automatic installation, what you will then see, it will point you to the 3.14.2. That's really important. And if you then auto and you disable the auto update, then you're able to select the 4.0. This is why this whole upgrade for the 4.0 release has been made available through the Poly Lens, so we can really control that rollout and give customers that easy control over those things. Now, what else is new? If you look at the applications, as I said, with every new release, we try to embed the latest and greatest applications that we got from the different video providers. Now, first, we already have is the X30 and X50. These are well known and appreciated by the customers. I also have here in the Netherlands a lot of great customers benefits from the X30 and X50. And what they've done is now with the new release, we have some new devices which has been introduced, and that's the X70 and the G7500, which are now both certified also for Microsoft Teams. And this is really exciting, because that is really a space where there was no option for a Teams certified device. And Poly with HP is now the first one who's going to enter this large and integrated room offering. So it's really exciting to see that these devices are also available for the customers to use now.
I know that we had a number
X70,
of customers using Microsoft Teams on the X70, but it was in beta mode. It wasn't anything that was
yeah,
certified. So what with the new release, the X70 running version 4 firmware is now certified as a Microsoft Teams device. And the G7500, same thing. It had been in beta before, but now it is the only certified integrator codec for Microsoft Teams on the market. That means if you're an integrator and you're building complicated rooms and you'd like to have that appliance as opposed to a PC or something else like that, this is the only product that's certified for Microsoft Teams as an integrator codec.
absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, yeah. So there's a lot of benefits coming with the X70 by itself. It's already like very powerful for a large room, but if needed, or you got acoustic challenges, there are now really nice packages where you can have a microphone further in the room. There's even a cut extension kit available, so you can really even hide the cables in the walls or the ceiling on the floors. So that gives you really, yeah, great integration for these scenarios. And for the G7500, you can really build your integrated room with IP table or IP ceiling mics, or you can use third-party integration, and it's also really powerful with those devices. What are the different options there? So if you look at the X70, in the basis, you can use your TC8, but TC8, that's the control panel. You put the table 8-inch, but you can also use the screen, of course. With the latest Teams application, you have now dual touch support. So you can really calibrate two touch screens, and you can use one touch screen to have your control, joining your meeting, and you can have the other touch screen doing your whiteboard. So there's a lot of things going on in the market at the moment, and in upgrades and features and functionality. So that is, I think, really great to see. Even the combination. So the TC8 here at the table, there was, well, if it was either or. So usually when you control it with TC8 at the table, the buttons were going away from the TV UI. So you could not do the touch anymore. But now with this latest release, you can also combine it. So even if you got people sitting at the table, or you got people standing at the screen, they both can use that control functionality, which I think is also I think really powerful. And other things which can be added. So other things which can be added optionally is then that table mic at the table. So that's a wired table mic, even with an extension kit. That is a possibility. Default, the X70 has a wall mount in there, and optionally you can add a table stand or a Visa mount. And well, probably you've seen it, David, the TC10, which has been shown at the Enterprise Connect, and I got already a lot of enthusiastic customers asking for it. So it's all in the progress. It's still early phase, but they showed it at Enterprise Connect, so that was really good to see. And probably it will go to all the certification, etc. to
And
get
let me
it out
actually
there.
make a point about that just in general. Yes, we will show technology at some of the trade shows that isn't generally available yet, but it's usually available in something like a quarter. It's in process. We're working on it. We have competitors, and I use the term loosely, that use trade shows to show technologies that they may not have for a year or two. And they're doing it really just to try and to put something flashy in front of the technology media and the consultants. It's not real. I always suggest to our customers, go look at some of these things, try them. If you can't buy them, then don't really consider it. So I was very happy. We showed and you don't have it in your presentation, nor would I expect you to. We showed the Voyager 360 headphones at Enterprise at CES in January, and now at Enterprise Connect we announced that they're GA and shipping. It's
Yeah.
not going to be a year or two down the road, and then we'll say, oops, never mind, we decided not to make the product, or oops, never mind, the partnership with the manufacturer that we were building the furniture for never came out. We're not going to try and deceive people like some of our competitors are. We're just going to show you products that are either out or that are about to be out, and have you really enjoy working with them.
Yeah. Yeah, no, great comments. Absolutely, absolutely. Now, if you then look at the large room option for the integrated device, yeah, that's absolutely now the G7500, really great. Today, like one USB camera, that's I think really important. So one USB camera, for example, the E70, you can hook it up to the G7500. Well, if you got HTCI cameras, so these were the cameras from the group series, not from the HDX. That was the generation before that, so that is not supported on the G7500, but at least the generation before it, the Eagle Eye 4 camera, the black and the silver edition. These are supported. You can even use the director. I tried it with the. I got the producer here, so I play a lot with all those things still. A producer, I think it was also a really great device we had out there doing and tracking. One of the first devices doing the tracking with the director too. Also, so you can even use those devices with the G7500 and support it. Of course, there is a remote, and you probably ask me like, what do customers today want a remote? We got now touch panel, we got like everything there. Now, still there's a remote, and why? Well, use cases is usually they just want to have a sort of like a mobile card, and the mobile card doesn't have a touchscreen, and then they don't want to like run around with a TC8 then somewhere or a touch panel. Just want to have it simple with a remote. So there are still some use cases where the remote is used. So it's a Bluetooth remote, so you don't have to worry about signaling. Just be in the neighborhood of the G7500, and then you're able to you can join a meeting, you can have the controls, the volume, the mute, etc. So it makes it very flexible for those custom AV installations. Poly, and it surprises sometimes people, still has a stereo kit. So there is a stereo speaker kit available. So of course, because it's not an all-in-one device, the GC500. So you hook up the camera, you hook up the speakers, you hook up the mics. So there is a stereo kit available, or you can use a soundbar if you have maybe already a soundbar in the room or anything. You're able to hook that up. And other accessoires, table mics, IP-CD mics, that's a possibility. You can even make a next step, and that is if you got, for example, external DSPs, or it could also be already in the room, like a Shure, Biamp, QSC, and there's a lot of things going on the DSP side to be able to support those AV integrated rooms through the 3.5 millimeter, using it analog, or which is the preferred one, is the USB connector. So you got the digital signaling, and you can really use the DSP functionality with those DSP providers. Really powerful. And yeah, same thing, not only TCA, but of course for the larger rooms, we'll also go hopefully at the TC10 very soon to use that as a controller. It's just a bit bigger. I'm also using it here even in my home office. I think it's a really nice device. And with the LED lights also, you can identify quickly if you're in a call or not. So it feels very comfortable. And I usually like some more bigger screens to be able to control stuff. And especially for the larger boardrooms, I can also imagine that the TC10 as a controller is much appreciated.
Yeah, I can remember the first MTR or Microsoft room that I saw at Enterprise Connect going back 10, 12 years, just had like a tiny little webcam jammed in between two screens. And we've come so far in terms of that functionality. It's amazing.
Yeah, no, absolutely, Dave. Absolutely. Yeah. This is really, if you see where we're coming from, even with the control panel, where you got a surface, what was it, the surface, a tab or which you put into sort of cradle, where the sort of cradle, and that was changing into a sort of controller. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, what is also available now, and I think, I think it was very good to show it. There is an update one, so this is not part of the 4.0, but I just wanted to mention it because I think this is a great update. It's available only today through Teams Admin Center, and probably Poly will embed this in the newer upcoming releases, but you can push this now out through Teams Admin Center. It's available there as a separate app. We're able to push it. And yeah, I wanted to mention it because I get a lot of positive feedback on the features which were brought in here, like especially the audio through HDMI. I got a lot of those questions, and usually as a workaround, try to use 3.5mm input in the X50, X70, where you're able to split up the audio so you could at least locally hear it and things like that. But now it's part of the Teams client. It's able to process now that audio. So it's just a matter of ticking the box in the Teams app, and you're able to turn it on. Automatic sharing from room. I think that was also a huge one because there's a lot of customers who use on the HDMI ingest. They use, for example, Barker Click Share or any other dongle they want to use on the HDMI ingest, and or even a PC. Just a PC connected on the HDMI ingest. And then sometimes people they hit the mouse of that PC or the keyboard, and then it wakes up, and then camera turns around or opens up, and screens are waking up. So sometimes that felt a little bit uncomfortable when that happened, and also with the Marco, when they had that dongle, put it in the laptop, and the content popped up immediately on the screen. So it's now you can turn that all off. So this gonna make a lot of users happy out there to turn it off, and you just see the prompt on the screen. And if you want to share something, you just say, yes, I want to share it, and then you can share it. And so at least you got now some sort of control. And that's probably the feedback from the market. I think this is also where Microsoft is looking very careful for the customers where the feedback comes in. So this is probably one of those asks which they've put into the software release. The front
Yeah,
row,
I had heard that from a number of customers at Enterprise Connect that they're not just happy about 4.0, they're waiting for 4.0.1, right? That's going to have the HDMI audio ingest. I know that was a feature that people really wanted. So I'm glad to hear that it's available now sideways, but it'll probably be in a release within a matter of a week or two.
Yeah. And the front row, of course, which is part of the Android now. So we're getting now aligned with the Microsoft Windows edition a lot, where you can use chatting with the different layouts. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of things going on. Default front row. So if you appreciate the front row, you can use that out of the box. Join with a meeting ID. This brings me back, David, to the Polycom time where we just had our own virtual meeting room. So we could jump into a virtual meeting room, we just walk into a meeting room, we just punch in the meeting ID, and we can jump in. And whatever room we are, whatever, like it didn't matter where you. And yeah, I see that now sort of coming back with all those video rooms where they're not always know which email address the room has, or there is no invite, or they need to open up their laptop to jump into and create an invite or something. That's not needed anymore. If you already have an invite, or you set up a meeting and you just punch in the meeting ID and the meeting code, and you're able to jump in. So I really like it, and I know some of my big customers also gonna appreciate this feature enormously, and make the life of the users at the end, because this is what we're trying to reach, and make the life of the users also a lot easier to use those rooms. Giving a lot of benefits there. Yeah, group series. My children. I mean, this is where I was born into the Polycom world. So if I look at those pictures, I always feel very enthusiastic, because this is where I started with this company, and I was a lot of part of the development and features and functionalities of all those products we see here. But of course, time moves on, and now we're setting the route to the G7500 as a codec, which you can still use as a like group series, because it has the G7500 is running the Poly OS, which is sort of the baseline for H323 SIP. So you can always use that functionality to dial to any H323 SIP platform. But on the other end, it is an application-based codec G7500. So on that Android base layer, we run those applications, so you can also able to go natively and run natively in Zoom and Teams and other great applications out there.
It's good to be backwards compatible, but if you haven't upgraded your video systems in your office in the last 3 years, there have been so many amazing updates. The idea of having to aim a camera is essentially gone. The idea of having to mute audio in the room is essentially gone. There's so much that we've done. If you haven't upgraded, it's time to upgrade. So as much as you might like your old babies, it's time to send them off to college and bring the adults in the room.
Absolutely. You're gonna benefit greatly of the new world and the application-based codecs. Absolutely. So when you want to jump into like G7500, there's a lot of things which you can reuse, but other things you cannot reuse. So the HDACI cameras, you can reuse them if you want to on the G7500 codec. But you can also start using USB cameras, but only one. Be aware of that. In the Teams mode, G7500 in Teams mode, it's today supporting only one camera at a time. So that's very important to know. But at least you can use HDCI or a USB camera. Now the touch panel is gone. So that was the group series touch panel. I think it's almost 10 years old now. So it's just impossible to run now today's applications and get the performance. So you really need to upgrade to the TC10 or the TC8 and benefit of the great new experience of those devices. Similar for the table and seating mics, which you had with the group series. Those were the C-Link connected devices to the group series. That is now the IP table mic and the IP seating mic. So these also was something you need to replace. If you got an external DSP provider, you can reuse it. So probably you used it through the 3.5mm analog input and output with the group series, because the group series didn't have a USB DSP, a digital interface to those providers. But with the G7500, you could still do it analog. But I would recommend to use it digitally, using the USB connector. So there is a G7500. There is a functionality in there which you can enable an external DSP. So all the DSP processing will be done by those external DSPs. So I think that's really powerful. So you got a lot of flexibility there for your integrated rooms. And don't forget the APIs. So similar like with group series, there's a lot of APIs available also in the G7500 codec. So this is something you probably want to investigate with your AV integrator and build up a test room or something. But it's really nice to see now that we got G7500 available, not only with Zoom and Ring Central now and the Google Meet, not Google Meet, but we have it available with Zoom, with Teams, with all those providers that we have out there, and you're able to use it with all those providers. One thing which I think is a really nice one is also the Zoom application. So as I said, with every new release, we try to put in as much as possible. And I know on the Zoom side, there's also already newer applications available to push them out through Zoom device management. But there's a lot of things going on besides the change in the logo. Because I don't know if you've seen it, but the logo and the format, and probably you've seen it also on Enterprise Connect now, that new format, it the logo is a little bit different, and they have that zoom now in here with all the different applications that they support. Yeah, but it's just a minor twist in the color and in the font, as you can see. So this is
well, we'll have
font.
your colleague and my colleague Tony Interbartolo on the show in a couple of weeks, and he's going to walk us through some of the changes and updates and new features that are coming in the Zoom rooms and the Zoom space. So we'll talk about the logo now, but we'll have more to come on Zoom in the next couple of weeks.
Absolutely. Okay, cool. Yeah, so just quickly, what is happening on the Zoom side? There's a lot of things going on. What I really like on the latest Zoom application is their possibility to just jump not only in a Teams meeting with the meeting ID, but you can jump WebEx meeting and you can jump in the Google Meet. So you got that possibility now. It has a sort of client built in there. Probably a lot of that is based on a Chromium browser, but you got the ability to jump in, and you don't see any of that technology. You just get that front layout as you see right here. You only need to punch in your meeting ID or your WebEx meeting ID, and you jump in the meeting. Very powerful, and it gives you a little bit of the feeling which you had with the Trio. With the Trio, I am also big fan of that. I did a lot of workshops also on my YouTube channel where I still get a lot of feedback on, and where I got all the icons underneath, so you could jump also into those different meetings and just put in the meeting ID. So I see a lot of those things coming back now with different providers. But that's good to see. So
yep.
I would just recommend that just try this out also in your environment. It's just a matter of ticking the box in the Zoom device management, and you can play around with those different platforms. One which is brand new in the 4.0 is the Google Meet. So it's not that there is any other box because in the past you had to have a Chrome OS box or anything like that to support this. Now this is just natively built into the Studio X. So the X30, X50, and X70 today, and maybe the G7500 in the future. I don't know that, but at least X30, X50, and the X70 are supported. Really nice. So there's no other box needed in here. It's just a matter of you turn it on using the web UI or using the Poly Lens platform. You check the Google Meet option as a provider, and here it's presenting you with a code, as you see right here. You got that code here presented. Well, you just go to the admin portal and you log in and you're ready to go. I did a full-blown deep dive on my channel, so I will give the details to David so he can push it out on the video where you got the link. So if you want to need a deep dive, how this all works, how the interface looks like, I recommend to check that video there. Really powerful. What is supported? X30, as I said, for your smaller rooms in combination with the TC8, because usually smaller room you would need at least a TC8 there. So there's no control on the screen today, so that's important. You need the TC8, or if you like bigger screens, you can also use the TC10. So that's also a possibility, where you got that LEDs on the side. You can see if the room is available, or you can see if it's muted or not there, or green when you're in a call. So that is a choice which you can use with those different devices. Default with the X30, you got the clamp. Optionally, you got wall mount or table stand or VESA. The VESA mount, if you need to, it's a lot of flexibility there. You can even reverse mount it under the screen to get the cables hidden on the screen, and you can reverse the camera. What is also important is you need the Google Workspace Meet license. So you need to contact your Google partner and get those licenses to make sure you can enlighten and enable the device.
It's interesting that when we announced Android support for Google Meet, There were a couple of other, at least one other, maybe more than one, that announced manufacturers that they were going to do that as well. And yet here we are, about a year later, and ours is the only product on the market. So again, we're very eager to make sure that we're building products that our customers can use for all their needs today. We're pleased to be first to market with this. We're very happy to tell you, if you own an X30 and you'd like to use it with Google Meet, you do the free upgrade, and then you just go into the setup and use it. You don't have to pay any additional money. There's no handcuffs. There's no additional licensing other than the Google license, which you would need anyway. That's the way we see collaboration working, is let's sell you hardware that you'll be able to use for the rest of your life.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. And not only for your small room, also for your larger room. So you see that with the X50 in combination with an expansion mic if needed to get some better coverage. If you got an acoustic challenging room, then it's good to have a microphone directly at the table. Similar with the TC8 or the TC10, both are supported. And yeah, all the other things, like there is default a wall mount coming with the X50, but optionally there's a table stand and Visa mount. And again, it also requires that the Google Workspace. Now, one of my favorites, X70, is also supported. So you can use that in a room. A similar experience as you see right here. If you put it in the Google mode, just prompts you with that unique ID. You just go to the Google admin portal, and there you can easily just hook up an account there. Again, also similarly, you can use it with the expansion mic if needed, and then the TC8 or the TC10. And probably for those larger rooms where the executives walk in, they want to have a good view of the touch panel. So I think TC10 would probably be something at those bigger tables that you can really see that the device is to call it out. And with the X70, we got that wall mount. It's default in the box set, and the other things like table stand or Visa mount, same as with the X50. Really powerful, the Google Meet, and yeah, I think one that still is very famous, the Studio USB, also perfectly works in a Google Meet environment. For example, your medium room, you're easy to add that. Just hook it up to your laptop and use it, for example, as a BYOD device. So that is also still a possibility there to use it. And also with Studio USB, you can optionally have that extension mic if needed. And this gives you the flexibility to just use it with any platform. You just have that USB and that HDMI cable at the table, where you can combine them. If you have a docking or USB-C hub or something, you can even combine them. But at least if you got the USB cable, HDMI cable, you can start using that functionality. Yeah, and don't forget, Poly is now part of HP. So I see a lot of things going on there. I think of environments for your home office, and it brings a lot of things nicely together. With, for example, the P15 with that monitor. You can add the great audio and video benefits of those devices in those rooms. We use the P5 with a Sync 20. So there's a lot of flexibility that is coming together now for your personal workspace also, and it's all certified for that Google Meet. And yeah, there's more coming. So probably more headsets and things will be certified for the Google Meet, but that's all in the process. Just stay tuned. Just look regularly on the Poly website under the Google part, and you're able to see all the certified devices.
Poly website, HP website, Poly Weekly News. Stay with us, and we'll always get you the latest information as soon as it breaks, as soon as we have it out. We're very excited about all the announcements that we've made and that are coming this year. We have a couple more up our sleeve that are coming out that we can't talk about yet, but it's definitely an exciting time to be in our industry. That was an awesome walkthrough. A lot of interesting information, certainly around the new version 4. some of the older products that we have as well and how they were compatible. It's really good information. If somebody wanted to reach out to you, Jan, and ask you a question directly or find that information from you, how would they go about doing that? What's the best way to get you?
You can always email me. You can approach me through my YouTube channel, which I will share also. There's multiple possibilities. There's always people who are able to find me. jan.zoetemelk@hp.com. Or as I said, you can find me on my YouTube channel in that community. If you send me a message and I'm able to reach out, I will always try to help out as good as possible.
Absolutely, I appreciate that. So that's terrific information. Hopefully, you'll come back on the show when we have some more technology that you can kind of help walk us through. And I certainly appreciate the information. But I guess that's it for this week. We took up a lot of our typical hour, one of the longest shows we've done, but a lot of really good information in there. Thanks for being here.
No problem. Thanks, David, for also being here, and looking forward to see you in the future again.
We will get together in person and share that coffee in person. I think the last time we met, we were both leaning over the cappuccino bar in Barcelona. So
correct.
So that's it for this week's Poly Weekly News. Thank you very much for joining and spending the time with us. A lot of great action-packed information in here. We do appreciate you joining every week. On next week's show, Pat Pirowarchek will join me from the NAB conference, and we'll talk about our partner programs and all kinds of cool stuff. So join us for that. For all of my colleagues at Poly and HP, I'm David Danto. Thanks for watching, and we will see you next week.